don't even know where to start with this. I don't know why I decided to make this even a live stream, but I'm like, okay, maybe I should just document my experience and talk about it because I don't know if this would help anybody, or maybe it's just helping myself and I just need to like vent on my YouTube channel. So, title of this video, I think I put bad edible experience life lesson. So, I don't even I don't even know where to start. Okay, first and foremost, I don't usually actually not even usually. I don't even do this. But all right, you know what? Let me just jump right into it. So, recently I just got finished completing a book. So, there's several books that I've written and I'm still in the process of editing most of them. But there's one that I officially completed and I was so excited and I had a few people read it and then there was a few people who willingly read my book and then there was some where I wanted them to read it and I know time is everything, so I was just like, yo, I'll give you $100 if you read my book. So I paid like a few people to read my book, but I didn't expect the feedback to be so overwhelming. Like as an artist, like you do want to put out good work. It's not like you want to put out bad work, and you don't want to get fat. I mean, you don't want to get bad feedback, but and you want to be successful, but it's like it's like you're nervous in a way, and I don't know, you don't expect when people really like fuck with your work. So the feedback I got was everybody loved it and they was just telling everybody else that oh Ebbs wrote a book and blah 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 blah. And then on top of that, there were a few people that was upset because the way I ended the book, I ended it on a cliffhanger. So there's going to be a part two. That I did not write. So they was like, where is part two? Like I need to read part two. So instead of just taking all the compliments and just feeling like really happy that people enjoyed reading my book, I got stressed out and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna just hurry up and write part two. Like I already know what I'm going to write. Let me just jump back on the computer and start like typing everything instead of just taking a break because I wanted to take maybe like 2 weeks off from just staring at the screen all day and typing. So I'm stressed out. And usually when I'm stressed out, I go for walks, um I listen to like meditation music or just chill music. My vibe is always mellow, so I never need to like take weed. And everybody around me takes weed. Like everybody I know is either smoking weed, taking edibles, whatever. I was never into that. And even with the peer pressure and all that, I was just like, no. However, although I did try one edible before, it was a gummy and it was like I didn't feel anything. So I didn't know what the hype was about because I didn't feel anything. But this time around, since I was so stressed, and my intuition was just like, just go for a walk, just chill out, relax. Instead of doing that, I was just like, you know what? Let me try an edible. Let me see what the hype is all about again because I don't know. And I'm like, okay, it's a plant, so it's not bad. It's not like I'm smoking it, whatever. And since weed is now legal in New York, there's like stores popping out like daisies all over the place, just selling edibles and stuff. So there's this one store that opened up down the block from where I live. So I'm like, all right, I'm I'm gonna try one. And it's not like I thought this through. It just popped like in my mind just randomly as I was down the block. And I was like, you know what? Let me go do it. So I go in and automatically I see the guy behind the counter. He's like in Chillville somewhere. He's not really there. And I mean, he did say that he smokes all day, so that explains it. And I'm like, I'm not trying to get like you, but I am trying to feel more relaxed. So he was like, oh, then just take this. And it was like the small chocolate s'mores bar, very small. So I'm like, all right. So purchased one and I'm thinking nothing of it because it's really small and I'm practically new to this. So I'm just like, okay. And I tried a gummy before and it didn't do nothing to me. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I was going to eat the whole thing, but instead I was like, I asked my boyfriend if he wants me to break a piece and he'll have one. He doesn't take this stuff either. So when I asked him, he was just like, sure, I'll try it with you. Now, he did do something before. He tried something before because he was on this spiritual trip and never again because his experience was just, oh my God. I don't even want to talk about it, but his experience was just like, I can't. I was really pissed when he took it. But this time around, he was just like, sure. So let me see. How did this all happen again? Because this was like last week. I remember we was at the park and I broke it in half. And beforehand, I was like, how much is in here? But then again, I don't really know. I don't really know like the numbers, how much is too much. It was just one of those moments. So broke in half, we took it. Mind you, we was already planning on doing things later on in the night. Like we was gonna record some stuff, I was gonna write some stuff. There was a couple of things that I wanted to do. But as soon as we took it, it was like I felt extra, extra mellow. And first of all, the chocolate bar was nasty. I was like, I don't know how people can eat this. I'm like, I'm over here talking shit. And then as we're walking back, I'm like, I don't know how people can take weed every day because I feel no motivation right now. Like the things that I jotted down and wanted to do, I don't even feel like doing no more. So I'm like, I think when we get back to the apartment, I'm just going to relax, just like lay down or whatever. So we get back and sorry if I'm making this too long, but it's a story and it's not really like I didn't think this through. I just figured let me just go on live and talk about it. So my thoughts are not like really straightforward. So I'm just putting it all together in my head and just like spitting it out. But anyway, so we get back to the apartment and we set up this light that I bought. It's like you turn it on and then there's a bunch of stars everywhere. So turn on the lights, turn on this green light, set up like a blanket on the floor, some pillows, lay down, and we're just looking up. And I didn't, besides feeling super mellow, I still didn't feel nothing. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just, I guess, go to sleep or something because although I didn't feel anything just yet, I felt enough to where I didn't feel like doing anything, and I was just not motivated at all. So I'm like, whatever. I go to sleep, he goes to sleep. Next thing you know, I start hearing noises, and it's him just like walking around, taking a shower, going in and out. I don't know. He's like all over the place. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's starting to feel it. I don't know. I don't know. This is new to me. I have no idea. So I should have stayed down, but I didn't. And as I'm talking about it, like I feel the headache coming back. So I get up, not fully though, and I see my boyfriend about to head out, and he's like, I'm about to go to the store. You want anything? I'm like, sure, why not? And he's looking at me, and he's like, oh, you look fine. And I'm like, yeah, I feel fine, whatever. So he leaves, and I'm starting to get up. And as I'm getting off of the floor, I feel super heavy. And I'm like, oh, okay. I feel super heavy and super wobbly. And immediately I'm like, oh boy, I think we probably overdid it. So I don't know what happened after that. All I remember was, okay, I don't know what I did, but then I sat back down and I was sitting by this mirror and I looked at myself and my face didn't, like the shape of my head didn't seem like my normal head shape. And everything just started moving like slow. And I look at my hand and I start laughing at my hand because my hand's green. And I even said to myself, like, my hand's green, ha ha ha, whatever the fuck. I don't know. And I'm like, of course it's green because the lights are on and therefore I look green. I'm like, wait, why am I laughing at this? Why is everything so funny all of a sudden? Then I start getting dizzy. Everything starts going slower. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I need to go lay down. So I go lay down and I try to go back to sleep, but I couldn't. I couldn't go back to sleep. It was just too strong. So I'm like, oh shit. So I start Googling what to do if you overdo it with a weed edible. And the first thing I saw was, don't panic. You're not going to die. And I'm like, die? Like, what? And even though I was calm, it was like the paranoia started kicking in. And I was like, what do you mean die? Right? So I was like, no, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. But I was still like freaking out. And it was just like, drink plenty of water, uh, call somebody up who's close to you. I was, whatever. It was basically saying drink water, go for a walk, go to sleep, but I couldn't go to sleep. So I'm like, oh shit. So I get up, I start drinking just a bunch of water. I'm like, okay. And I'm walking back and forth in the hallway, and my hallway is small, but for some reason it felt like I was walking through the Grand Canyon because it was just so long. And I'm like, holy fuck. And then on top of that, I started like seeing things and started like having voices. Like I started hearing voices. It was like it was basically saying, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. And I'm like, let what out? Like what? And I was like, are these my demons talking to me? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Uh I even saw a freaking rabbit, like a white rabbit, eyes poked out, like veiny, looking crazy. I saw like so many things. And it was bad. So I call up my boyfriend and I'm like, yeah, can you come back? Because I don't know what's going on. And he's like, okay, cool. So at this time, it already kicked in for him. Like it kicked in like maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes before me. I don't know. Um, then it gets bad. It gets extra bad because at one point I wanted to like take my life. For some reason, I had an urge to take my life. And I remember being near the kitchen, and I don't know, it was just like, it was weird because it was just like, part of me was like, there's knives in the kitchen. Just take a knife and, whatever. You won't even feel it. Like, that's it. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So, meanwhile, as all this paranoia and the slow motion and the Grand Canyon and the rabbits popping in my head and the voices and all that, with all that going on, I heard my consciousness. I heard myself talking to myself, just telling myself to just calm down and like fight everything that you're hearing and everything that you're feeling off. Just fight it off. So I'm like, all right. So then my boyfriend comes back. He's going through it. So we're walking back and forth in the apartment. And he's like, call your parents. I'm like, oh shit. So my parents, they live not too far from me. They live like up the block. And this was like 11 something at night. And usually when it's around that time, their phones is off. My dad and my mom, both their phones are off. They're usually sleeping. But when I called, they answered. And I was like, you guys gotta come over. I think I think I fucked up. I think I had to take something that is too strong. I don't know. I was just slurring through my words. Another thing, I was just slurring through my words. My dad understood because back in the day, he had tried an edible once and never again. So he jumped out of bed and they like rushed over. So my mom, she's pissed off because she knows that I don't do this. But she was so pissed off. And she was like, I'm not going to be here forever and blah, blah, blah. Like, you need to get it together. And I'm like, Mom, it was just an accident. So she's calling up my auntie. I hear my auntie over the phone. I'm like, holy shit. And then my mom's asking me like how I'm feeling. My boyfriend, he's like in and out the house, going for jogs. And I don't know. I don't know. It was weird. And all I remember was me laughing. And I was trying not to laugh, but I couldn't help myself. And I was throwing through my words, and I told her, I was like, I feel like a volcano because I felt vibrations through my legs, mostly my quads. It was like really warm and like super like overpowering. And then I felt like staticky and so much vibration, like right here, like right around this area of my head. And then I felt like something was moving right here. It was so weird. And I was like, I feel like a volcano. So my parents are looking at me like, okay, we got to take these two to the hospital. So we're about to get into the car. And I'm like, I don't want to get in there because if I get in there, I feel like I'm going to like jump out the car. Like I was having super paranoia and I don't know. Ended up getting in the car anyway. And as they was taking us to the hospital, I felt like I was going to die. And this was oddly to say this was the peaceful part of the trip because as I really felt like I was going to die, I felt so at peace because I was like, well, I did everything that I needed to do. I did my best. I accomplished certain things. And that was just good enough for me. So I was just ready to close my eyes and just drift off somewhere. But that didn't happen. We ended up at the hospital and the doctors already know what's up. They're just like, they gave something to calm us down. And that was that. We waited in this like area full of other people who were more like they were on worse things. I'm gonna say it like that because I don't know I can use that word on here. But they was on worse things than us. And I remember I felt like their energy was making me extra paranoid. And I thought I was going to start acting just like them, but that just never happened. So basically that was it. We came back home. Um, it started to wear off. Started watching TV, and then out of nowhere, it came back again. It came back again, and instead of calling my parents, because this time they're probably sleeping, uh, I was like, I'm gonna sleep this off because early in the day I did called up like my sister, and I asked her, "What do you do when this happens?" And I was like, "Get your baby daddy. Like, ask him, what do you do when this happens?" And they was just like, "Just go to sleep. Like, just sleep it off. You don't need to go to a hospital." But I don't know. But so I end up going to sleep. Well, I had a hard time because when I laid down, I felt like I was hanging from the ceiling. And I was slurring through my words, and I kept saying, I feel like I'm hanging from the ceiling. And it took me a long time to go to sleep. But then I went to sleep. And then when I woke up, the next day was just horrible because I had a hangover. I still felt like I was hanging from the ceiling, and I couldn't move. I couldn't move. I felt kind of numb, and I had such a bad, bad headache. So I didn't do nothing that day. I was just in bed. And as for my boyfriend, he was already up doing things. He had a glow. He was like excited for life. Like I was so I was so mad. And I was so mad at him for him having this glow and being excited while I'm in bed just like miserable. And it took a few days for that to wear off. And that's basically the experience. Now, what I got from it, and basically, I don't know if I could give any good advice for my story, but just don't take it. Don't do edibles. I would give that advice, but so many people take edibles, so many people take weed, so many people drink. Like, this is everybody's day to day routine. I would say like 95% of people I know are on something or smoke weed every single day. And I know whoever will watch this will probably be like, well, first of all, you overdid it. So that's why you had such a bad experience. Because usually people just feel like a light buzz or something like that, and that's it. Me, I think I took like 110 milligrams or whatever. I don't know I know it was 110. And I know that's a lot. And if I would have took the whole bar, I don't know. And if the bar was small, it was so small. I didn't think nothing of it. But so of course somebody would be like, well, you overdid it. So therefore, I mean, you overdid it. So I can't really say, I wouldn't try to force and promote to not take this type of stuff because people are going to do what they want to do anyway. But as far as me, I will never, ever, 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 ever take that again. And the crazy part is that I knew, like, as I got the chocolate bar, as I was about to take it, and after I took it, like, I heard my voice my own self telling myself like I did not need to do this. I never needed to do this. Like I'm always chill anyway. There was no need. So I know now under pressure, now that my book is done and I'm about to get it copyrighted and start planning on how to like market and everything. And I already have people who want to buy from me and whatnot. As I'm getting into that phase, I just need to take things a little bit more easier because that was just unnecessary. And I don't know, I feel like I went backwards. Instead of like celebrating the fact that everybody so far likes my work, I just reversed it and stressed myself out and did that silly mistake. So I don't know. I don't. I get. I don't. You know what? I don't even know. I'm way stronger than that to be wanting to take an edible or drink. But so anyway, I thinking about it just makes me nauseous. But I would say what I also learned from that experience, because when I got out of it, I was nervous and I was depressed because of the suicidal thoughts that I had. And yeah, it was basically that, because when I was younger, I used to be okay. Okay, this part of the video is gonna get a little deep, and I don't even know if I could talk about this on here, but I'm trying to be as real as possible. But when I was younger, I don't, I can't, it's hard to explain, but I was like suicidal, and I didn't take anything, but I used to try to like, I don't know. Um I don't even want to say it. I mean, I could say I got into like a bad accident on purpose, and then I woke up like 5 hours later in the hospital, and I was completely fine. Like nothing was wrong with me. And I was just like, okay, that should have took me out and it didn't. Um so I'm obviously here for a reason. But I'll talk about that in like another video. But I don't know, I was always like that. Like when I was a kid. Oh shit, I'm about to get deep. When I was a kid, I always felt like I was, I guess, super spiritual, and still am, but I felt like I am not supposed to be here. Like I didn't want to be here. Why am I here? This is not it. And I always felt like different because of that. And I was just like very super quiet and, whatever, whatever. And I remember in kindergarten or whatever, it was something like that. Yes, kindergarten. They had to get like a counselor. They had to give me like a counselor or something. I don't know. I don't. I was one of those childs, just quiet and didn't want to be around anybody. I don't know, but I just remember telling my counselor that I just want to be free, run wild in the jungle with lions and stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking about that. It's just I don't know. I can't explain why I was like that. Like I was very conscious, like as a kid. Um, yeah, so that tied into other things. that happened in my life caused me to just be suicidal. So when I went on that bad edible trip, I felt like it was going to bring those emotions back up because I had thoughts of just like taking my life, and which I don't feel like that anymore, but I thought that it was going to like bring it back up because I was very like depressed for like the whole week after that incident. Meanwhile, my boyfriend's like running around all happy and all giddy and whatnot, glowing in the face, and I'm just so that's that. And then what else? Second part, I was just mad because okay, I was mad that everybody who tried to convince me to drink, to smoke, to party, to do all these things, and I see them go out every weekend, get drunk, and, doing wild stuff. And I was just never about that life. So when I took this edible, I was just like, so this is what people get themselves hooked onto. Even though what I did was extreme, but I see people do way worse and getting drunk every weekend. And I'm like, so this is what people wanted me to be a part of. And it's just, I just didn't get it. I didn't get it because what if I was to do that every weekend, party, drink, smoke, I wouldn't have the motivation that I have now. I wouldn't been able to accomplish certain things that I've accomplished so far if I was to do what everybody else is doing. It's like when you're on that stuff, you don't feel motivated. I don't know how some people do it. Like there's some people who smoke weed and hit the gym. I would have no motivation to work out. And majority of people that I see that smoke every day, all day, they're just in like chillville. And this is supposed to make you feel high, but I didn't feel high. I felt like at my lowest. So I was just so mad because I'm like, so this is what people be on, and it's like an escape, really. Is every day you're just escaping your reality. I don't even want to get. I don't. I'm trying not to say certain things, but it's like, what's the point? Have no motivation, escaping reality all the time. Like you're not yourself. I don't know. I, and what I learned is because a lot of guys be smoking weed all the time, and then they try to talk to me, and I don't go for guys who be on that shit. Like that's not what I do, so therefore I don't want to date anybody like that. And I'm like, they got some nerve because guys who smoke weed every day have no personality. And yeah, I hear that, girls have no personality, da 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 da, yada yada yada. But guys don't have no personality either, especially when they're smoking this every single day. It's like you talk to them, it's like they have nothing really to say. They have no ambition. They're not working towards anything. And if they are, they're just saying it. They're not really doing it. They barely get anything done. And they just smoke weed every day. That's just all they do. I don't know. And then Should I even talk about this story? I just find it odd. Like last year, these my cousins, okay. So my cousins, they all wanted to go on this trip to Miami. And I didn't go. I didn't go because I know what they do. So, I mean, they're not too bad, but I just know they be on that shit. And I'm just like, no, thank you. Um, and they was tight or whatever, but whatever. So I didn't go because I knew like it just don't make sense. I know like during the experience is not so fun, but afterwards the stories are funny. So me, I was just like, if I go to Miami, gonna end up hitting some clubs. Some of them are not gonna be in their right mind, so I'm gonna have to carry one of them back home or back to the hotel, whatever. And then not everybody is taken, so some of them are single. So they're gonna run into some dudes, and then it's just gonna be like, gotta worry about that. So I just never went. But I heard the stories afterwards, and it was fucking hilarious. Like they did meet some dudes, and they ended up on a yacht because one of them had a yacht and whatever. He was like successful in his Airbnb business and this and that, and nothing happened. They just like how does it go? So it's like when you have girls that go out, they just want to have fun. Guys who go out and meet girls, they just want pussy. So one group is trying to have fun, one is trying to get pussy. So it's like both are plotting like how we gonna do this. So they basically got what they wanted. They took them out, paid for their food, whatever, took them on a yacht, this and that. And in return, they didn't get no pussy, but whatever. They all still have fun. But me, it's just like, I don't know. I'm just, if I would have went and I was on that yacht and met those dudes, if I was with them, I would have been the only one to like probably sit in a corner somewhere. And probably would have spoke to the guy who actually owns the yacht and start asking him questions like, so how did you do it? How did you invest in like the Airbnbs and this and that? Like really pick his brain just to see, because I have a good enough money saved up, and besides putting out books, I'm trying to figure out what to invest in and get like a good like return off of. So I would have been one of those people to ask a million one questions instead of just drinking and being excited that I'm on a yacht. Like, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point because I'm still in the days of why people do what they do. They just take this every day, have no motivation. They party. They don't even, because even when they got back, I asked them like, how did the guy was able to afford that car or that yacht or that whatever? How did he get there? Because he's young. They don't know. They just know that they have fun. And I'm just like, I don't know. See, my mind is like somewhere else. I'm more creative and business type of mindset. I'm not really into smoking weed every day, drinking every day, and just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say at this point. I don't even know what type of advice to give because, like I said, everybody's on this stuff. But maybe who will watch this, maybe what I said, some of the things I said could resonate with you, and I don't know, maybe just think like maybe I shouldn't be on this every day, or I shouldn't be on this at all. Like, what am I doing with myself? What am I doing with my life? I don't know. Because I don't know. Even the guy who sold it to me, like the way he was, I'm like, how do you function every day? Like, you're lucky you're selling a product that basically sells itself, because he was like the worst salesman. It was just, mm, never again am I taking an edible. Um, yeah, that's just my experience, because I just don't. Because the moral of the story is just don't overdo it. Do your research. If you're going to smoke weed or take an edible, but mm, people gonna do what they want to do. And another reason why I don't feel the need to really give advice, because as bad as this sounds, and this is not to like talk shit again, but I really do feel like this is supposed to be the balance. There's supposed to be more sheeps. There's supposed to be more sheeps in the world than, I don't know, lions or something. There's supposed to be more people asleep versus people who are out there doing things. So that's why I'm not like trying to give too much advice on here, because I really could just say everything on my mind and be like, don't do this, don't do that, invest, I don't know, drink tea, like take herbs, eat right, exercise. You don't need to be on this. Go for walks, meditate, instead of just doing something like this. But not everybody's gonna do it. And yeah. Because I tried before when I was like a little bit younger, when I first started this YouTube channel. I would post videos about like working out, because people wanted to know, they wanted to know some tips. So I would post it on here and then put it on my Facebook, because people were asking more on my Facebook. But instead of taking the advice and doing the steps, they rather take the shortcut, get surgeries, get BBLs, whatever, whatever. So I'm like, why waste my breath? I'm just gonna do me. So I already know not to like give too much advice, unless you know for a fact that somebody's really seeking for it. They're looking for some type of guidance or something, because I don't know, you know who's serious and who isn't. And yeah, I think one more thing I'll say before I get off this, a good example of that. Because me, I always seeked out like the right people to talk to. I always look for people who are doing things. And this week, I got a message of something important. I don't even know if I could say it on here just yet, because I don't want to mess up the position that I'm in. But I got this message from a certain someone, and I'm like, oh shit, I feel like this is going to be like some top secret mission or whatever. And it was so funny, because no one in my circle is doing what I'm doing. They don't get hit ups and messages of certain things or certain tasks, and things that people are putting you on, because they don't put themselves in the position to get those opportunities. Like, they rather smoke and drink all day and that's it. It's like when you do the right thing, or just like show up to certain like events, meetings, or whatever, or just showing face. You don't even have to bring nothing huge to the table. You're just showing like these people that you're serious, even if it's just to say hey or whatever, or just showing a little bit of support. Anything small, people see that, and therefore eventually you get opportunities handed to you. It's basically like that saying, if you sit at the barber shop all day, you're bound to get a free haircut, or whatever, how it goes. It's like that. I feel like I'm talking in riddles, and I wish I can say it out. I wish I could say it. I just don't know if I'm allowed to say certain things just yet. I don't know. I don't want to mess up my position, but I don't know. Yeah, that's it. It was just a bad experience. Lesson learned, never doing it again. I'll stick to my walks, my meditations, uh, painting, whatever, just relaxing. Uh, and that's it. Because I think, too, that's the problem with certain artists. They would create a masterpiece or an album or something that's really like top tier, and people are expecting better. So you're always trying to top your best project, and you're just gonna like stress yourself out and overdo it, and you end up doing something stupid. So lesson learned. Never do that again. But I think that's it. I think I did enough rambling. Hopefully what I said in this video, in this live stream, like makes a lot of sense, because hopefully it will help the next person out, whoever comes across this video. Damn, I'm like 47 minutes in. Holy shit. Okay. All right, let me get off this.